the fastest way to pay off credit card debt. You're staring at a statement that doesn't match your salary. The number keeps growing even though you stopped using the card 3 months ago. You know mathematically it's impossible, yet there it is, interest compounding daily. Weekends don't pause it. Sleep doesn't pause it. Only one thing stops it, and nobody teaches you this in school. Most people attack credit card debt wrong. They pick a card, throw money at it, and feel productive for exactly 2 weeks before the psychological weight returns and they stop. The debt wins because they're fighting the wrong enemy. The enemy isn't the balance. The enemy is the psychological tax of carrying multiple debts simultaneously, and the minimum payment trap that's specifically engineered to keep you in the game for 17 years. Here's the actual math nobody shows you. If you have a $5,000 balance at 22% APR and you're only paying minimums, usually about 2% of the balance, you're paying $91 per month. Sounds reasonable? Over 17 years, you'll pay $18,532 total. The credit card company made $13,532 off your debt alone. That's not a mistake in the system. That's the system working exactly as designed. The fastest way to escape this isn't a secret. It's brutal honesty about cash flow. Here's what actually works. The debt avalanche method paired with a non-negotiable cash flow audit. This isn't the snowball method you hear about. That's motivational theater that costs you thousands in interest. This is different. You're going to list every debt, smallest to largest by interest rate, not by balance. The highest APR card gets attacked first, while minimum payments hit everything else. But, and this matters, you can't start this method until you've actually known where your money goes for 30 days. Most people skip this step. They're eager. They want to feel in control. Then they hit day 45 and realize they've been untracking $400 monthly on subscription services, restaurants, and small purchases that felt invisible. The debt doesn't move. Motivation dies. The card gets used again. You're going to do a 30-day money audit instead. Every single transaction. No exceptions. Groceries, coffee, gas, the birthday gift, the small splurge. Use a spreadsheet or an app. It doesn't matter. What matters is the confrontation. When you see $1,200 in discretionary spending over 4 weeks, the number doesn't lie. Most people find $400 to $800 monthly that they can redirect to debt without changing their actual lifestyle. They're not choosing poverty, they're choosing visibility. Once you have that number, that's your payment amount. Say you find $600 monthly available. Your highest APR card gets $600 plus its minimum. Every other card gets the minimum only. This is the law now. Not a suggestion, a law. But here's where psychology intersects with math, and where people miss the second layer advantage. You're going to feel that highest APR card evaporate faster than you expected. If it's a $3,000 balance and you're throwing $600 at it monthly with a 24% APR, it's gone in 5 months, not 17 years. That's a neurological win. Your brain releases dopamine when a problem actually ends. Most people never experience this because they're splitting efforts across 5 cards, watching nothing die. This is the motif. You need to kill something to feel alive in the process. Once that first card hits 0, you don't get to celebrate by pausing. You don't get to pocket the $600. You take that $600 plus the minimum payment from the now dead card and stack it onto your second highest APR card. So suddenly, that card is receiving $600 plus its old minimum, maybe $750 total. The acceleration is visible, tactile. The second card dies faster than the first. Then, the third card dies faster than the second. This is the debt avalanche working in your favor, and the math compounds backwards, in your direction. Here's the educational layer most financial advice glosses over. The true cost of minimum payments exists because of something called the amortization trap. Banks structure minimum payments to ensure the majority goes toward interest in the early months. A $5,000 balance at 22% APR with a $100 minimum payment means $91.67 goes to interest, and $8.33 goes to principal the first month. You're paying $100 to reduce debt by $8. Banks designed this. It's not a glitch. By month 12, you've paid $1,200 and owe $4,400. The psychological weight is still crushing. The progress feels fake because it is fake. But when you're paying $600 toward that same card, suddenly $520 hits principal and $80 hits interest. Not because the rate changed, but because you overwhelmed the formula. This is the mathematical escape hatch nobody explains. You can't defeat interest through negotiation. You can only defeat it through velocity. The third variable nobody mentions: you need to freeze the cards you're paying off. Physically, not metaphorically. Cut them up or lock them in a drawer. The moment the balance hits zero, the psychological relief will tempt you to use it again because you've just freed up credit. People do this. They pay off a card and spend more on it that same month. You're not rebuilding your financial life. You're extending the game. The frozen card stays frozen for 6 months after it's paid off. That's the rule. Now here's where the faster way becomes complicated, and where your moral compass actually has to engage. There are people who will tell you to get a balance transfer card. Move your 22% APR debt onto a 0% APR promotional card for 12 to 18 months. The math is seductive. A $5,000 balance at 0% for 15 months costs zero interest. If you can pay $333 monthly, it's gone before the rate jumps to 22% again. This works. But, and this is crucial, balance transfer cards require good credit, they charge 3 to 5% upfront, and they reset the psychological clock. You feel relieved when you transfer. You stop thinking about the debt as urgent. You might spend on the new card. The old card stays in your wallet. Statistically, 40% of people who balance transfer end up with more total debt within 18 months because they cycled debt, not eliminated it. The fastest way isn't always the newest way. It's the one that ends. There's another level to this that most YouTube videos skip because it requires uncomfortable self-examination. Some people can't actually afford to pay debt faster than the minimum because their cash flow is genuinely broken. They have a lifestyle leak bigger than their income. No amount of debt strategy fixes this. You can't optimize your way out of earning $2,000 monthly and spending $2,200. The avalanche method, the snowball method, balance transfers, all of it fails. The actual fastest way to pay off credit card debt for these people requires earning more. A second income stream, a career move, a skill investment that increases their salary. This isn't motivational talk. This is arithmetic. Some situations require supply-side solutions, not demand-side optimization. But if your cash flow actually works, if the $600 exists in your audit, the avalanche method with velocity and psychological momentum is genuinely the fastest. 7 years faster than minimum payments, thousands less in interest. 1 dead card per quarter once you achieve momentum. The trap isn't the method. The trap is the moment you hit psychological relief and you think you've learned your lesson. You haven't. You've only learned math. The behavioral pattern that created the debt is still there, running in the background, patient. People pay off $15,000 in debt, feel reborn, and rebuild $12,000 in new debt within 2 years because they never examined why the cards got maxed in the first place. Was it consumption? Was it income volatility? Was it an emergency without a safety net? You need to know. Or you're just playing a longer game with the same mechanics. The fastest way to pay off credit card debt is simple arithmetic accelerated by relentless clarity. Kill the highest APR card first. Stack the freed cash onto the next target. Freeze the cards. Never return to the minimum payment mentality. And then, this is the part that actually matters, never create new debt while you're escaping the old debt. One financial war at a time. Your future self is watching to see if you're serious.